Hello Year 6, it's me, Mr. Hollick. Hope you're well, we're missing you a lot. It's very strange, isn't it? I hope you're all keeping safe. And I hope you all have a lovely Easter as well. I thought I'd send you a quick video to remind you of what my handsome face looks like. And just to check in with you. I also was thinking about reading you a story. So I couldn't think of a good one to read at the moment, because obviously if I read one it might be quite long. The sort of stories we've been reading in school. So I thought I'd tell you a story at the moment before I find some more short stories, and I'll read those over the next few weeks. So this story I might have told to some of you, but I can't remember. It's called The Pedlar of Swaffham. And it's about a man named John Chapman who lived a long time ago in a place called Swaffham in Norfolk. And there's a statue of him, if you ever happen to go through Swaffham, there's a statue of him in the village square in Swaffham. So a peddler is someone that sells things, and they try to peddle their goods, and they sell all sorts of things. And John was quite a poor man. He would go out each day from his broken down old cottage, and he'd try and sell things in the village. Whatever he could get his hands on cheap, he'd try and sell and make a bit of profit. But he found it really hard, and he'd come home each day and he'd rest his weary bones on his bed. And in his house, in his little cottage, there was a hole in the roof. There wasn't much food to eat. He had his loyal dog with him all the time by his side. And the only good thing in his house was in the garden was a lovely apple tree. And each summer it would give the most delicious apples, but he had to wait all year round for them to grow. Anyway, John went out one day, didn't have much luck selling things, and when he came home he rested his weary bones. He lay down on his bed and he fell fast asleep without even eating anything. He was so tired. And when he fell asleep he had a dream, and in the dream a voice came to him, and the voice was as clear as moonlight, and the voice said, "Go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge." And John woke up and he was amazed at how clear that voice was. He felt it was real, and he looked around and he thought, is someone here? But he thought, oh, it's only a dream, I can't pay attention to dreams. And he went back to sleep. Anyway, the next day he went out again, and he had much the same sort of luck. He didn't get very far selling his things. He was very tired. He came home, he had a little bit to eat, and again he fell asleep, so tired, fell onto his bed, and straight away he was asleep. And again, in the middle of the night, a voice came to him as clear as moonlight, and it said, "Go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge." And this time he woke up and he was sure that the voice was in his house. So he looked around, he thought maybe it was a ghost. He was quite scared. But then he said, oh, it's only a dream. I shouldn't listen to dreams. This is nonsense. And so he went back to sleep. The next day he had the same sort of day. He went out, he sold a few things, made a little bit of money, bought a little bit of food, went home, cooked up his food, stroked his dog, went to sleep. And that night, again, the same voice came to him. The voice as clear as moonlight. And it said, "Go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge, go to London Bridge." This time he woke up and he thought, that's it. I'm going to listen to it. Something is trying to tell me something. There's a message here. And so the next day he packed up all his things, and he got lots of little bits of food that he could get his hands on. He put them on his back in a little bag, and him and his little dog wandered off to London. Now he had to trudge and tramp through the byways and highways and lanes all the way down to London, and it was a whole day's walking before he even saw the outskirts of London. And by the time he'd got to London the next day, after sleeping rough on the side of the road, it was late in the afternoon. And he got to London Bridge. And now this was in the olden days. If you go to London Bridge now, it's just a road really across a bridge, and there's the River Thames underneath it. But in those days it was a very exciting bridge with houses on it and shops and markets and all sorts of different people shouting and arguing and hustle and bustle. And this is what he saw. And he came from the quiet countryside of Swaffham. So this was amazing to him. He looked around and he couldn't believe everything he was seeing and the different smells and sights. And he went into the middle of London Bridge and he thought, what now? What do I do? He didn't know what to do. The voice hadn't told him anything else. So he sat down on a doorstep, and pretty soon he fell asleep because nothing was happening. And he was just so tired after all that walking. So him and his dog curled up. The next thing he knew, he was being kicked awake by someone. They were kicking him, just nudging him gently with their boot at first, but then kicking him quite hard. And they said, "Who are you? Wake up, get out of my doorway." And it was the person that owned the house trying to get out of their door. So John stood up and apologised. And the man said, "What are you doing here? What's going on?" And John said, "Well, sorry, sir, but I had a voice. I had a dream, and in the dream a voice came to me as clear as moonlight, and it told me to come to London Bridge. And so here I am, and I'm hoping my luck will change, and I don't know what's going to happen here." And the man let out a great big belly laugh. And he said, "Ha! Dreams! You don't want to listen to dreams. What a load of nonsense. Why, only last night I had a dream that I should leave here. I should go all the way to a small village somewhere in the countryside called Swaffham, and I should head to a broken down old cottage on the edge of the village, and I should find in that cottage a hole in the roof, and out in the garden I should try and find a tree that gives the most delicious apples. And I was, in the dream it told me to dig up a hole under that tree, and that I should find under there a massive pot of gold." And he started laughing right in John's face. John did not say another word. He turned and he ran with his dog at his heels, and he ran all the way back as fast as he could to Swaffham. He ran into his house, he grabbed his trusty spade, and he dug a hole under his lovely apple tree with the most delicious apples, and there was a pot of huge gold under his tree. And he just thought to himself, sometimes it's important to listen to our dreams. And he became the richest man in Swaffham, and the statue was made of him, and the plaque is there, and who knows, maybe it's a true story. So that is my tale. I'll try and add some more in there, more on YouTube in the next few weeks. Hope you have a great Easter. I'll find some good short stories for you. Take care, missing you all. Mr. Hollick out.